All right. This is time to get started for our reflection and planning session. Make sure to grab your calendars. We're going to get started in just a moment. All right. Hello, hello, as we're coming on in. Lovely to see your photos. So let me go ahead and we're going to share the screen. And we're going to get started as people come in and do their things. This is a mellow vibe. This is a space for you. So we'll go ahead and we're gonna jump right in. So water, quiet, whatever you need, grab it. Um, we're gonna jump in. I'll talk a little bit. We're gonna get quiet. We're gonna move through, and then I might get excited at the end. So us all going over here, and then make sure that I have our chat up and I can see everything going on. Amazing. Everyone sees the screen okay. Awesome. Okay, great. So welcome, welcome. We are streaming live, so putting that out there. We are on the YouTube live right now as well. So we have anyone out there, just make sure that you have grabbed a piece of paper or you downloaded the worksheet. And if you don't have it, don't worry. You can write it anywhere. Right now, it's just a focus and having awareness. So the first thing we want to do is you can let us know where you're coming from or what your business is in the chat. I know some of our people here, so you're fine. But if anyone wants to write in their comments where they're at, just lets us know how we can support you better. So we can do that. Real quick, how this works today is we're first going to relax, right? This is very easy. All we're doing is grabbing some lessons from the last month and looking at some ideas from the next. So relax, prepare to write. So you want your camera on, amazing. I love that. At the same time, totally get it if camera is off, all right? Whatever feels good, this space is for you. We are going to go through a set of questions. We'll start with the reflection of the previous month. So we're going to be looking back in April, and then we will end with planning for the future month. So that's kind of the process. So you might go, we're talking a lot about the past. We start there, and then we're going to go to the future. We will have 1 minute to answer each question. Go with your gut. Do not overthink it. Just write the first thing that comes. If you recognize you need to expand on something later, make a little mark and you can come back to that. But we are going to be swift. It's about 38 questions, moments of reflection that we're going to be looking at and planning that we're going to see today. And we're going to do that in under an hour. So go with it. You're going to get the best thing by just going with your gut. So real quick, for anyone who has not seen me before, I am Tanya Marie Figueres-Kreisinger, more easily known as Tanya MFK, because that is a mouthful. So I do coach incredible people doing extraordinary things, and we help people unbusy, untangle, and unleash the perfect plan for their business. I firmly believe that creating a good life is really just a series of well-lived days. And if we are creating those well-lived days, they're going to happen in those hours as well. So the more that we're paying attention to the flow of our time, the flow of what we're trying to create, those are the things that are going to be the superpower of what we put together. You can have the best strategy, the best marketing plan, anything else, but if you don't have the time, guess what? It's not going to get done. And so that's why I created this space, was because I knew as a CEO, as a business owner for myself, reflecting was important. It was powerful. I knew it intellectually, but creating space for it was really hard. And I would schedule it. I'm a scheduler, but then I decided I need some accountability. And so I did something called a forcing function. If I invite everybody else to do this with me, guess what? I have to do this. And so this practice came from me needing to be held accountable to do this for myself, to go, I know that my superpower is going to be finding what I've been doing, looking at those lessons and making sure I'm really clear, not just for the year, but every 30 days. So that's what we're doing today. That's why it's happening. And I think we're going to get started. So unless anyone has any questions, let me know, but I think we're good to go. Again, for anyone coming in or just checking it out, you got a worksheet. If you have the worksheet available, awesome. If not, all the questions are going to be on the screen and we can go ahead and you just write it wherever you'd like. So we're going to go with 1 minute each question. I will have the timer on. So again, I'm just filling the space to give you time to get comfy, get all your stuff together, grab your water, tell your people to leave you alone for 60 minutes or snuggle them near is some we have as an option, and we will get going. So we're going to look back on this past month, right? Which for now is April. We're going, what month was it? April. So let's start. In 1 minute, remember 1 minute, I want you to list every significant thing that happened last month, just in April. Doesn't have to be achievements. It can be any significant life changes, events you attended, just giving you a reminder. What did April hold? What did April hold? Ten more seconds. All right. So April, some of us might have forgot. Oh my gosh, forgot all that happened. There's a lot going on. And our future focused minds tend to forget all that's gone on. You go, my goodness, that was a lot. So next, what was your biggest personal milestone or professional accomplishment just in April? Just in April. And biggest for you. No qualifier here, whatever was big for you. And for some people, it'd be like they drink more water than they drink all the time. Maybe you landed a client, clarified your messaging, got a website up, or slowed down. Sometimes that's a big milestone. I learned to slow down. All right. Number three, what did you do exceptionally well this month? What did you do exceptionally well this month? Might not have been a milestone, it might not have been an accomplishment, but you say, you know what? That was pretty good. Emails were looking pretty great. Or you know what? I handled that problem pretty well. Maybe you had another goal you were doing, but this is the moment for you to be kind to you and say, you know what, Tanya, you know what, Changa, you know what, Alexandra, you know what, Michelle, you did really well at this month. You were really kind, or you were really energetic, you were really disciplined. You made really great sandwiches, whatever it might be. Exceptionally well. It's just about 10 more seconds if you're struggling. You know, because I know what a lot of you are doing here. I could tell you something awesome you did this month if you're struggling to find it. I know it. Okay. Number four, what was your most valuable lesson learned this past month? If you look back on April and you go, yeah, that was one. What is April given? 20 seconds left. There it is. What was your most memorable day in April and why? Any reason. Sometimes there are great reasons, sometimes there are not so great reasons. Just review what stood out and why it stood out. What was memorable? 20 seconds left. All right. Moving along, checking out April. 6, what is something you did last month that you loved doing? Just gonna give about a 30-second for here. Okay, just one thing last month you loved doing. April. Easter holiday was there. Sun started coming in for some places. What's something you did you loved doing in April? Maybe you went for a walk, caught up with some friends, maybe you went to an event. You're like, man, why don't I do more of these? I always feel like that when I go to the library. I'm like, why am I not here more often? This is amazing. All right, number 7. What are ways you can have more experiences like that? We get caught up in how we can do more. So my question is, how can you do more of these things that bring you joy, the things you enjoy? Hey. What was the most challenging part of April and how did you face it? What most challenging part and how did you face it? Got a minute on the clock. I was still muted. Hopefully you have some good insights from that question. So number 9, looking back on last month, just look at April in a nutshell. What would you have done differently? Is there something that stands out that you might have done differently? I'm going to be quiet so you can reflect. And why? Different, why? About 20 seconds left. All right. Go. My husband was learning learning how to make sausages from scratch. And the first batch didn't go according to the way he wanted. So I know he has a way. He looked back to do something differently this last month. Sometimes it's as simple as that, you know? We don't have to overthink this. It's just taking a snapshot of the awareness of where we've come and where we've been in these smaller moments and gain those insights. Looking at that, if you were to think back even to March, which feels like ages ago, just in who you were who started April, bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready for Easter, how are you different at this moment than you might have been just last month? Give you a minute to think about that. You ever find yourself struggling in any of these questions? Start by writing, I don't know, maybe, dot, dot, dot. Sometimes when we just start writing, I don't know. Let's see what the maybe brings up. Like maybe my hair's longer. Maybe I've had profound insight, right? It's okay. Whatever comes to you, go with the gut. No right or wrong answers. So 11, remember, still in reflection here. So what area do you feel you made your biggest improvements? When you look at April, is there an area that you say, you know what, maybe it wasn't my biggest accomplishment. Maybe it wasn't, they'll always say, but maybe I just got better. I improved in that space. Can we give some acknowledgement for that? I'll give you a minute. Biggest improvement. I know some of us improved our asking. Some of us improved our launching. You know, a couple of our members really stepped into some confidence this past month. Okay. Moving on, in what areas would you like to see more improvements? It's a little foreshadowing for next month. I'm just going to give us 30 seconds for this one. We don't need a laundry list of improvements. I wonder why they call it a laundry list. If someone can tell me. All right. So areas you'd like to improve. Let's move on from that. We have plenty to look at the future later. So now that you're kind of looking back on April, is there a word or a theme or an emotion that you might use to summarize what April was for you or means for you? So some people, maybe it was fast, maybe it was chaotic, maybe it was the bunny month, maybe you guys bought a rabbit that, whatever it might mean for you. But what this does is it helps you kind of compartmentalize how your year went in the smaller vignettes, right? Instead of just seeing it as a whole, you'd be like, oh, I remember March was the windy month, and this was the big this month, and you kind of have this, and it helps in our reflection. So Try it out. See if you summarize. Let's give you about 20 seconds. Evening glow right in my eyes. All right. Perfect timing. Okay. So that was what April looked like for us. So before we check out of April, let's double check what we were trying to accomplish. What were our goals? So looking back on April, what goals or passions were we pursuing? Not everyone is on a goal mission, and that's fine. Maybe there's some passions you were pursuing. So again, I'm going to give you a minute. Let's get a list of what you were trying to do in April. Sorry, so loud. I don't usually mute myself, but I was making noise and I keep talking to myself. Doesn't work so well, but that's okay. So you made a list of what you were trying to accomplish in April. What did you actually do to achieve those goals? So it's just taking stock of like, this was my plan. These were the actions I took. So you might say, I wanted my website done. What did I do? Well, I wrote this one part, or maybe you wrote all of it. That's what I want to see. It's the actions. So just 1 minute there. You might have had an income goal. Perhaps there were various actions that you took to try to move towards that goal. There might have been a project that you were determined to do or did do in April. We're just going to get an idea of the actions. So we had our goals. We look at the actions we took. How was your progress? So looking at what you wanted to do, what you did do, and how that worked out. That's the assessment we're trying to look at. It was amazing. Ooh, it wasn't so great. I got stuck somewhere. Whatever it might be, this is that moment for an assessment. What was your progress like? And for you, it might mean a certain milestone. It might be your own feeling of the performance. It might be your own feeling of how far you got. Whatever that means to you. All right. So Before we start getting all these great ideas about what we're going to do in May, what of April still needs to be done? Or in general, what still needs to be done to achieve those goals? So the goals that you listed out that you were trying to do in April, if there's anything left, I want us to take a minute, I'm gonna start in just a second, to get clear about what still needs to get done to make those happen. So I'm gonna start now. 1 minute. Okay. Sometimes that minute feels real long and other times not long enough. So 18, as we're still looking back on April, what did you want to do but didn't do last month? So we talked about progress and goals. Is there anything that you had an intention to do regardless, personal, business, anything, just didn't get touched at all? Like nothing happened, no progress? So let me give you a quick 20-second with that one. Okay. We don't have too long of a list. Is there anything that you can take away from that as far as what you might have learned from falling short of that? Any of these goals, whether it's the one you didn't get to at all, things that didn't get the progress, is there anything we can glean from that experience? Okay. Is there anything specific you can improve for next month to meet this goal or your plans in general? So now we just pulled some insight. Just wanted to give you a moment to say, is there something I can work on to meet these goals and plans? And sometimes there's not. Sometimes you're like, no. Or maybe it's like, I need to work with different people. That could be the improve. I say that because sometimes we go like, I should find something. Some of us who are really open to development, we're so willing to blame ourselves. So I appreciate that, but sometimes it might not be. So maybe you find a space to improve. Maybe you recognize it somewhere else and you're okay. 10 seconds left. All right. All right. So midway in, shake it out if you need to. We just have, I think it's like 3 questions here real quick. So what we do in between our reflection and moving on to our future planning, so we make sure that we remember what we're doing this all for. So I always call these kind of the gut checks. So overall, what have you been trying to achieve? I'm not talking about just April. I'm not talking about just May. Just first thing that comes to your gut right now. What are you actually really trying to do here? Whatever that question means to you. Life, business, strategy. What are you trying to achieve? Twenty seconds left. All right. I'll tell you why I love this question. If you're following along and you're going with your gut, sometimes when you hear this and you go, overall, what are you really trying to achieve? And I've seen people are like, freedom. I just simplicity. They might have something that comes out and you go, okay. So now that we're looking at April and all that, was that this? Are we aligned here? Or as we start to think about what we're moving into May, are we aligned? And sometimes we just need that memory of like, you know what, this was really supposed to be about this, or I'm really just trying to achieve that. Somebody just brings it back into perspective before we start building our to-do list. So next here is, now that you've identified that and looking at where you are now, are you still trying to achieve this? This is just a quick gut question. Yes or no? Wrap that up with your yes or no. You still trying to achieve all that same stuff? Sometimes it changes, sometimes it's the same. Great. And then do your goals still align with who you are now? We've already identified you've changed in just a month. So just a quick check to say, are these still who you are? We've had situations where people have gone from like, my goal is to get everything still done. I'm going to get 30 of these a day. And then start going, you know what? I'm really embracing this different part of me now. That goal is no longer relevant, not in the same way. And that's good. That's okay. So those were your quick questions. Those are your quick things. Just make sure we know where we're at, why we're doing this. And now we're going to start looking at May. We're already in it. We're here in May. So let's start to look at what we're going to do, how we're going to achieve our goals next month. What do you look forward to achieving in May? It's the second already, right? What do you look forward to achieving in May? 1 minute. All right. You got your long list. Now let's move into, what are your 1 to 3 goals for this month? 1 to 3. It's fine if everything that you just listed was important. I want you to identify the top three or one, for some it's one, that are matter the most, or they would be the most excited to have done. They would give you the most results, whatever that is. And keep your long list. I just want you to narrow it down to your top 1 to 3. All right. So we've narrowed it down to 1 to 3. Do these goals align with your long-term goals? The things that you're trying to accomplish in May, do they align with the bigger picture? For some people, this can be a simple question. For some, this can feel more complicated. In an area of an entrepreneur, and as we learn, and we're usually in a space of self-development and growth, there's a lot of things that we can add to our plate to become better people, to learn more in our industry, lots of things. But we want to make sure that are those things we're choosing to engage in now, do they actually align with what we're really trying to accomplish in the long run? More times than not, they do, but sometimes just good to have this question to come back and go, oh, it's a good idea, but it actually doesn't really help this long-term thing I'm trying to do. Just a moment of insight or confirmation. All right. What is your true motivation for these goals? So looking at the top three, not the long list, but the top three, what is the true motivation? Some of you know how to do this. I'll give you a quick example. You're not going to be able to do all your goals here, but this is what happens at this stage. Every goal has an ultimate source of motivation. It's typically not the surface level. So for example, let's say my goal is to get more clients. So I would go, why? As you see this, why? Not why do you want more clients, but why is that important to you? That's the question we ask. Why is getting more clients going? Well, because if I have more clients, then I can have more income. Why is having more income important to you? Well, if I have more income, then I will be able to provide for my family more and have more peace for stability. Why is peace and stability important to you? Well, if I have peace and stability, then I'm able to show up like this in my family. What happens when you're able, and you do that 7 times, okay? Why is it important for you to do that? A lot of times you'll get to the core of like, because I want to show up I want to be close with my family, or I want to show up, or I want to be in shape to be able to play with my grandkids. And all of a sudden, that surface level thing, all those things that come up to go get more clients. Oh, maybe I should do a collaboration instead, or maybe I should focus on my website. Instead, we go, wait a minute. Is it about clients, or is this about supporting, like taking care of my family? And all of a sudden, it's a lot easier to hang on to that motivation, hang on to that goal when it's rooted in something much more powerful. So if you haven't done this, so we can go ahead and we'll try it. You can try pick one of them. I'll give you a minute to try it. But that is what you're going to do, is to see what's really underneath those 3 goals. It may just sound like I want to get a new computer. Even try that. Try it with even something that seems as surface level as that, of what the true motivation is. All right. It's a really great practice to try out. Um, so now that we've gotten to motivation, we're clear on what we want. Now we can play with the actual to-dos. What actions actually need to be taken to reach those goals that you've talked about? I will set up the timer and keep my mouth shut for you. Okay. That's the 1 minute in this whole session that makes me the most nervous. All the list of the things. So hopefully you get able to get a decent amount out in a minute, get an idea of what you're looking at. What I want you to think about now is what are potential roadblocks to meeting those goals? So for a short amount of time, I actually want you to just get realistic and say, I love this, I have this great plan, but what can throw me off? It could be a person, it could be a situation, it could be a certain result. What roadblocks could get in this way? I'll give you a minute. Let's say you're trying to avoid cake and you get invited to a birthday party. That could be a roadblock, potential roadblock. So whatever it might be for you. All right. So we looked at some roadblocks. We went down the sad road. My question then is, what is your action plan to avoid these roadblocks? We do have a worksheet that's referenced on like in the group. You should have this. It should have been sent with these things or attached to it. But we do have a worksheet. But even if you don't, the main goal here is just to look at the things and go, is there a way I can avoid this? Is there a way I can get around this? So for example, you're avoiding the cake. You don't want to eat cake, but you got invited to a birthday party. So that roadblock might be the cake that's going to come out. So what's a plan? Your plan might be, you know what? I'm just not going to go. I just want to be around. That's option one. Maybe you're like, no, I really want to go to the birthday party. So maybe option two is I'm going to bring my own dessert. I bring my own snack, or I'm going to leave before the cake, or I'm going to shield my eyes, whatever it is for you. Have an idea of what plans you might be able to have in place if you come against those roadblocks. About 15 more seconds for our master plan. All right. And the next part of this, what if it happens anyway? What if you gave in and ate the cake? What's your action plan if it happens anyway? This might be actions. You may know, okay, my pivot choice, this is what I'll do. It might be reactions, right? Depending on what your goal was. It might be, what if that person doesn't come through? Am I going to react in defeat? Am I going to react in anger? Am I going to let it throw me off? Maybe I do and say, you know what? My reaction plan is I'm going to be bummed and I'm going to take the day off and then I'm going to come back and I'm going to be okay, right? But that's what I want you to see is that sometimes it happens anyway. And the power that we have is to train our brain to react the way that's going to serve us most. And we do that by rehearsing, which is mean we're going to figure out what we're going to do right now. So just 1 minute, whatever that thing is that you wrote down that could be a block, what if it does happen? What will you do? Couple more seconds, wrapping up your action plan. All right. Couple questions left. We're wrapping up here. So we've looked at our goals. We've looked at motivation. We've looked at roadblocks. We looked at how to avoid them. We looked at what we might do if they happen anyway. We are truly identifying how to be unstoppable this month. Even if we get stopped, how to be unstoppable. So the next thing I want us to just take a moment to look at and looking at the goals is to go, are there any areas of my environment that need to be set up or changed in order to achieve these goals? Again, there is a worksheet. I'll have to find out. It used to be available through our email. It should be sent there, but if it's not, we'll make sure that if you need it, you get it. But the environment, setting up your environment to win. Actually, I tried to pull up the old sheet because I wanted to show you guys, but I don't know where it is right now. But anyhow, the point here is your environment, it may be different things, right? So we'll go back to the avoiding the cake. I might need to go through my house and kind of remove all the cake things. Like, let's set up my environment to win. Perhaps you're going to start going to the gym. So you're going to get the gym bag and pack it beforehand. You're going to have it there. Whatever that means. For some people, it might be people. I have a friend I adore. And if we get on the phone, I cannot get off the phone with him. I love him and I love to chat and I will get sucked in too. But man, if I allow those calls when I'm really trying to accomplish something, I will have a wonderful call. I'm not upset with him at all, but I just know it's going to go longer. So when I have a big, I actually literally intentionally avoid my friend. I let him know. He knows. I'm like, I got a big thing. We can't talk. We're in trouble if we talk. I can't talk to you. It takes too much time. So I have to remove that person from my life for like 2 weeks in order to do it, because that's just not going to serve me. I know we're going to have too much fun. We're going to talk too much. So it might be something as silly as that. It might be the person who doesn't do that. You like them, but they don't do the best for their mindset. And you're working on something. You need to set your environment up differently. Someone triggers you. So again, I always say it could be a person. It could be your environment, a community. It could be what's there. So I'll stop with that. Let me give you a minute and just see if there's anything scanning that needs to be set up or changed. And I will try to find my list to share with you. So you're scanning your workspace. Are there distractions, temptations, invaders in your workspace? What can we change? What can I remove? Do I need to add something? Is there a conversation that needs to be had? And we scan that through each one. What about home? Are there distractions, temptations, invaders, time wasters? What's within your control to change? What can you remove? What can you add? Is there a conversation that needs to be had? How about your computer? Are there distractions there, temptations, invaders in that space? What can you remove? Your phone. So we talk about environment. We're covering all these places. Distractions, temptations, invaders, with time wasters on your phone. Maybe your routines. There could be distractions, temptations, invaders, or time wasters even in your routines. Community. We find any of that you need to change. Habits. Anything distracting there? This gives you an idea of what to scan. All right, so let's move us on. Who do you want to be next month? Just in May, you have your goals, and all of us are doing our inner work to know who we want to be and how we want to show up in the world. But I want to challenge you to say, who is May Chenge? Who is May Alexandra? Who is May Michelle? It's the May version of you. What does May need you to show up as? Some months it's calm, restful, reflectful Tanya. I know it's not a word, reflectful, but Tanya. Other days I need ambitious, wild to the walls, like going to get it done, Tanya. Who do you need to be in May? Or want to be? It might require you, maybe just want to show up differently. Okay. Now that you got a grasp on who you want to be to show up next month, I just want you to dig a little further and go, well, how does that version of you behave? How does May version of you behave? They don't do this, or they do that, or they show up like this. They're vibrant. They listen. They're humble. They're confident. One time it was explained to me to picture your movie. And if you're the main character, how would you cast your character? How do they walk to the grocery store? Are they smiling? Are they rushed? And as you expanded the behaviors, what kind of actions does that person take? Does that person get up early? Does that person go to yoga every day? Does that person not yell in traffic? It's always mine, right? I come from the road rage state, right? California. So managing yourselves in traffic is really a Zen thing to attain. This is just helping you expand a little bit how you're going to show up. And we really are kind of wrapping up towards the end here. So that's it. That's where we're at. We've looked at April. We've carried our lessons. We remember where we've been. Holy moly. I mean, 30 days. I still am going back. I'm like, there's so much that's happened. And I can't believe we're already in May. And we've looked at where we made it, where we did well, where we've improved, where we need to still step up. We've taken some lessons. We've gotten our goals clear. We saw what was left from our goals in April and decided what's carrying over with us into May. And now what do we want to do in May? Who do we need to do in May? And how do we make sure that I'm really going to be able to show up and make these things happen? So your next step now, Chenge, Alexander, you guys know this, but you got to set your calendar up because this only goes as far as a to-do list. There's no actually strategy here. So if we're not clear of what our available time is, of what we really have to make these things happen, you just have a great list. You don't have a plan, right? You have a wish list, but not a plan. This is where it turns into a plan by putting it into real time. So this is, just a quick thing. Make sure you know what your morning and your evenings are. Block out all your have tos. Those are things you've already said yes to. And then what's left is what you actually have left for all the things you want to do, wish to do, and need to do for your business. That's your true available time. Start with your obligations first, not with this is how I think my master schedule is going to be. We have to schedule for reality. So make sure that you're doing that. Check if you need to uncommit to anything. Is everything important that you put on your list? Do you have time left for your actual goals? Is there something to uncommit to? Is your plan realistic? You might have put it, I'm going to cook every night. And Friday, you just don't want to cook. You're tired. Is it realistic to make you do that? Maybe you need to look at some meal prepping or something. So maybe you need to uncommit to something. Can you see, and I mean literally visualize yourself working on these goals? Practice this. Practice doing the grunt work, that list you made of the actions. Practice seeing yourself doing that work and not visualizing yourself at the end result. People go, imagine yourself and all your audience is there. Yay. No. Imagine yourself sitting and writing that blog you just don't want to write anymore. Okay. Imagine yourself showing up and doing the landing page, writing the nurture sequence. That's what I need you to see yourself doing. See yourself get up tired and groggy and not want to go to the gym and shuffle over to the gym bag and picture that. That's reality. Because what happens is when you wake up groggy and you're shuffling, your brain's like, oh, we did this. I know how the story ends. She picks up the bag and she goes to the gym. That's what's so powerful about seeing yourself do that. And then just ask yourself, am I truly committed? Because when I commit, I know it's happened. When I leave room to say, we'll see, I hope so, we said something different in our brain. So don't leave room for distraction. Commit. It is already done. It's happening. And that's it. And we actually finished on time. It's just amazing. So I know, look at that. I'm going to stop share and everyone had a good time. I'm assuming there's probably not too many questions, but Changi, how are you doing? Everything good? Feeling organized? Feeling
Yep.
great?
Ready.
Any good insight?
I actually just have one bigger goal for me, which I think will work really well because I usually have more, but this time I really stick to just picking one.
I like it. I like it. I love it. That sounds amazing. Okay, good job. Well, and Alexandra and her new partner.
Hello, this is Maya.
Hi, Maya.
Hello. Um, I've got I really love the visualization and the process visualization, and I think it would be a good belief builder
Yeah.
in some of the
Yeah.
tasks that are out there. So
And
I'm
that's
looking
the ones that
forward
are
to
kind
this.
of like molasses too. You're like, I don't know, but if you could see yourself doing it, you're like, okay, I got this. I got it. I love it.
Indeed, indeed. Looking forward to this.
Awesome. And Michelle, I didn't know if I would get you on camera. How about you? How did you do today?
Yeah, sorry, I'm sitting in my car at a place, so I thought, oh, if I'm writing on my phone, then it's going to be up my nose when you're looking at me. So I thought I'll keep it off for now.
Either
So,
version, off camera or your lovely nose would be
yeah,
great. Either
thank
way.
you. Thank you. And thanks for doing this for us. It's really nice of you. I think that this is really sweet getting together. And I'm in your kind of frame of mind. Like for years, I was addicted to sugar and I taught a nutrition and wellness course. And whenever I did that course, I got better, like I was paying
Mm.
attention, right? So I started teaching the course more so that I would butt it up against, like so that
Hold
I
yourself to
would
it.
be, yeah,
Yeah.
I would hold myself accountable to it. And I find that a monthly thing is so much better than a quarterly because that time can just escape you. Like the month
Yeah.
goes by so quickly. And I find it a little unnerving when you get your calendar out at the beginning of the year and you've already passed a quarter of the year,
Yeah.
right? And then you're like,
Yeah.
wait a second, how did that happen? And you didn't fill in anything that you wanted to fill in and that. So I find the month thing a really nice gesture. Like, thank you.
I'm
Thanks so
glad. Yeah,
much.
I'm so glad you
Yeah.
made it. And this is the thing. It is those micro moments. Like I love the big picture, but the
Mhm.
nitty gritty, all the change happens in the small steps. I think we all know that. All of us are working with people in small steps to see big change, right?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing for us. It's just looking at, sometimes we want to look at the 1 year, 5 year, 30 year, but it's like, what about the next 30 days? Let's just look
Yeah.
at our present moment. So
Yeah.
I'm
That's,
so glad you made it, Michelle. I hope you can come
yeah.
back. And
Yeah.
I know we'll
Thank
see you
you.
more in the group. And you and Alexandra probably have a lot of sugar stuff you could talk about because she's on her
Yeah.
own journey right now. So you
Yeah.
guys can connect. But I'm gonna head out, and I loved seeing y'all. So thanks so
Okay.
much.
Thanks so much. Yeah.
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
everyone. Talk to you
All
later.
right.
Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.